You like that misspelled death? I don't know what just happened. That's embarrassing. Um, I guess. I don't know if end again. Give up. I'm confused. I'm scared. I think it's working. Hey, okay, you're back. Hey, all right. Um, basically, still talking about Jinx, and Jinx is just the guy who keeps like just re-uploading videos and not putting any content. He just sits there and he goes,
He says, he continues that keep in mind that
but
reactors
like the
are
whole
not
time.
reviewers,
Welcome,
analysts,
welcome.
documentarians, expert critics, or even
All right,
video
awesome. Yeah, I don't know what
essayists.
happened. It just quit.
This is a terrible argument by Dark Viper. He's using this to say, hey, who are they to react to content? They have no qualifications. This is actually the same argument
I'm
that
trying
Matt
to
Haas used against me
understand what
in
this
a
is.
first lawsuit. Their credentials has no bearing at all on their right to free speech. It doesn't
Mm,
matter if they're qualified.
I feel like reaction video as I'm reacting to this. Just giving my 2 cents. Um, I feel like when it's like the stuff that other people do, where it's like, because this is like, I guess I'm reacting to drama, but it's like Jinx would just react to like sports moments and like funny things. It's like when you're doing that, you have to put something in it. It's like, I try to, it's like you watching sports, you're like, I try to figure out how to play a sport. Manifestos in the comments. Oh, here it is.
Here's where Dark Viper makes a really good point. He says, more importantly, the
14
legal position
pages?
of platforms like YouTube and Twitch are balanced on a razor's edge. All it would take is one significant legal challenge
That's
from a
far too many
company to
pages.
set a precedent that would destroy this delicate balance and make all of our careers impossible.
This is
XQC, Hassan.
this is not proper setup for an essay. There's no tabs. Who is this guy that's like saying this stuff? Um, mm-hmm. Grand Theft Auto speedrunner. What? He must be. He's like just so mad, so angry, angry at the world. I don't like. I don't even know. I don't even understand the reason.
Disguised Toast, etc., were recently gambling with the
Okay,
careers of
I'll
tens of
check that
thousands of
after.
people in order to stream hundreds of episodes of TV shows, cartoons, and anime. I actually got to agree with Dark
Mm,
Viper here. I think what
yeah.
the reaction meta, as they call it on Twitch, where they react to full episodes of TV shows, is actually insane. It's dangerous and it's pretty crazy. I have to admit, watching like anime that's behind a paywall, full television show, and this is straight reaction content, right? Like this is
Mm, I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
basically what Jinx does. They're doing watch parties. They're not critiquing or anything. So he's right. If one of these license holders actually sues one of these creators and gets a judgment against them, it could damage the
Yeah, that's true. I kind of definitely agree with that. With the whole, you're just watching anime. I mean, there's also still like the argument in my mind. It's like I was watching like a Hassan reacting to something, and it's like sometimes he pauses and goes on these long things, which I guess it's exactly what I'm doing. Um, but a lot of the times he like sits there and he goes like, "Yo, what?" Sometimes he doesn't have anything like even input in it, and I don't know. Sometimes it's hard. It's hard to watch some of it. It's like there's good segments, but this,
the creator environment quite a bit. So on this point, I think he has a
yeah.
point.
But
I don't know,
basically,
for example, if
Ethan's just like,
Critical was
"Don't."
reacting to
Don't watch
full
anime.
television
Don't
shows.
watch actual
That's a
full
separate
TV
issue, right? We're
shows.
talking about kind of reacting to YouTube videos, to content, and or versus watching full television shows in series, right? They'll watch like 10 episodes at once. Then he has this really funky idea of consent that Dark Viper puts forward in his document. He says, now we come to the issue of consent. While reactors dismiss the idea of paying workers for their labor or giving them a say over who
Oh,
can
yeah.
profit.
Um, yeah. This is kind of true because it's kind of like, I don't know if Ethan's gonna say it. I'll put my 2 cents in first. It's kind of like reactors, yeah, first of all, they're not going to be paying. They're making money off of reacting off. I'm not making any money, so I can react off of this. But they're making all this money reacting off of something. And if it's like, I don't know, they're not really compensating the person who did it, and maybe the person did it for profit, or you're not putting into consideration maybe this person wasn't trying to reach such a huge audience. Like, some things do need to be exposed, but sometimes it's just like someone just trying to have fun on the internet. It's not always, we need to cancel this person. They're being weird. It's like, yeah, maybe they shouldn't have put this online where anyone could see, but it's also like I've definitely done that, but I'm not cringy enough yet.
From it, they will also attack the idea of informed consent as a concept. He says that basically, you need consent to react to someone, and that's, I'm sorry to tell you, Dark Viper, but that's just not the way it works. Free speech does not require consent.
That's true, but I still feel as though you should, in some way, like if you're making, like if you're these big reactors, maybe you should be doing, I guess it really just depends on the person, if the person is a dick. Because if they're a dick, do you really think they deserve money? It's kind of like reacting to Logan Paul's video of him being a horrible person and doing something so insensitive and awful. But like, it just, what is he, like, I wouldn't want to pay Logan Paul for any money I made off of that. And with like the drama channel stuff. I guess it kind of depends. It's like you can react to stuff that people are putting on the internet of their own free will, but if like you're watching a video and it's like someone's being secretly recorded, um first of all, I think that's illegal. Second of all, just like, that's not fair to that person. I don't know.
Consent. And what a reaction video ultimately is free speech. If you're saying, would it be nice to get consent? I guess. I mean,
Actually, I shouldn't say that. I don't have I don't have the consent of Ethan right now, and I don't know if he knows he's being recorded.
I personally don't care if somebody
He's
reacts
just
to my
talking.
content. They
He's
don't
just
need to
talking to
ask
his
for my
wall,
consent.
as I am.
In this world, in this country, we value free speech, and I just consider it free speech. But then he goes on to make a really unsavory comparison to reactors using people's content, stealing people's content, to R word. He says, if you feel pressured to not cause a fuss.
Let me just 1 second. I don't think this man has the right to say that. I don't think this man has the right to say that. I don't think so. I'm not sure he has the right to say that. I have like 14 tabs open.
About someone stealing your content, perhaps due to fear the powerful reactors and their audience will threaten your livelihood with backlash, or if you are not knowledgeable enough to say no, you don't know another person is out there exploiting your labor, or if you physically can't say no, maybe because the reactor has spiked your drink at a party. A reactor believes that they can do whatever they want to you. Consent to reactors means they can do whatever they want.
Did someone react to his content? Did someone react to his content? Like, did someone really um did someone react to him, or is he just jealous that he doesn't get as many views as those? Because like
To you
either way,
unless
guy,
you have
you're still getting
explicitly
quite
told
a bit
them
of
no.
views. I
Going to
saw
a
your
party with a
Twitch.
reactor must be a
I have
scary
what,
thing.
3?
He's making
You're
a
still
joke,
getting enough.
or I guess a
I think
really
you're still
bad
getting enough,
comparison,
dude.
but
Be
you're
grateful.
comparing free speech to an act of violence upon another person. Okay.
Free speech and like assault are I think, very separate um areas. Like two different sides, not even actually on the same spectrum at all. Uh, it's just maybe don't compare them. Maybe don't, because one's like will hurt your feelings maybe, and the other one's like is gonna emotionally damage you forever. You'll never probably get over it, and you'll always remember that moment, and it's awful. Not only is it physical pain, but it's mental torture, mental pain all the time. You don't recover from that. I mean, yeah, in the second grade, my boyfriend called me fat, but you don't see me carrying that around. Moving on.
Okay. This is a terrible comparison. Even if you're joking, it's way out of line, and it's really not even a good comparison. Consent, it's like you can't be like, well, first of all, the idea of consent and reaction videos to me is just a total non-issue. It's weird. I don't get it. But then to be like, well,
He was British too. He was a British young boy, because I was also a young girl, so. Yeah, like just move. We were neighbors. I thought we were besties. We didn't kiss though. No kisses. Saving that for marriage.
there's different levels of consent, right? Like, did I take someone's sandwich out of the fridge? You know,
Someone takes your sandwich out of the fridge, you're legally allowed to kill them.
it's mean. Versus spiking someone's drink and R-wording them. Those are huge freaking differences, dude. Like,
What are you talking about? It's different. That's crazy.
it's just not. You didn't need to go there, in my opinion. Then he goes on and he compares fair use to slavery. Again, an unsavory comparison.
Once again, once again, I don't think this man has any right. This guy right here, I don't think he has a single right. Oh my god, that's so close. Why would I want it closer? I don't think this man has any right to say anything about what is and isn't slavery. I'll just leave him up for you. I put him. You won't see him. Yeah, this man. I don't think he has the right. I don't think so. But moving on.
Comparison by
You would
Dark
get a bad,
Viper.
you would get a
He
bad grade
says,
on this essay.
"What about fair use? Fair use law, like in 1984, and
Exclamation point. That's never say in summary.
the Constitution are things that people cite fairly often, but have not actually read.
Also,
in
the
summary,
so
fair
not
use
react
law
content
was
also,
largely written in 1976 and has the goal to
you
allow
shouldn't
a
write
person
so.
to use.
You should write. He should just write not react content. So it could be. I feel like it could be. Fair use law was was largely written in 19. It has the goal of allowing a person to use portions of another person's work to achieve a different purpose for the original work and to target a different audience. So, not react content, but instead it could be not react content. I mean, it's unless if it's like the production value, I guess, of TV then maybe if it has all of that stuff behind it, but you don't see a lot of content creators with like big things shutting everyone down unless you're she who must not be named. Blonde Sundoll.
Portions of another person's work to
But
achieve a different purpose from the original work to target a different audience. So, not reaction content. Um, so Dark Viper doesn't understand
not
fair
reaction
use.
content. What are you talking about?
Portion is basically the amount is determined based on a factor of things. You can use a portion and you can use the whole body. It really all depends on a case by case basis on if your usage of the amount was warranted, if it was necessary, right? So, I don't believe you're understanding fair use correctly. It has nothing to do with portions or entirety.
I'm sorry, I'm pulling up the thing. He literally says at the end of the first paragraph in like italics and parentheses, diagrams are not finalized.
Now, granted, if you use the entire video, it may be harder to prove fair use, but it doesn't mean it's impossible if you can prove that it was necessary to making your...
This guy should have made it into a video essay. What is his like... Oh. Matthew. Alright. Oh, his last name's Judge. Perfect. Let's just see what we're working with. Pisces. That makes sense.
Your commentary. Or in the case, fair use also covers newsworthiness. And in that case, you might show the whole thing.
This guy's such a Pisces.
And it's warranted. But of course, we're talking about commentary. So he says React content is the least fair use content available online. Well, that's not true. Basically, just re-uploading a video is probably the...
What is legal is not necessarily good by any standard. That's can be true, but in this case, I do not think that is... Hold on a second. I don't think you can say that next line. That's a horrible... Like, yeah, obviously.
Fair use content available.
That's a bad sentence.
More importantly, what is legal is not necessarily good by any standard. Just because slavery was once legal, it didn't make it good. And certainly, even if this labor exploitation was legal, it still wouldn't make it any less exploitative or something that should be tolerated. What people wrote down in 1976 in America has little bearing on what we today should consider.
What are his, like, thoughts on, like... I mean, I know he's Australian, but what are his thoughts on, like, any other political thing? Because that's intriguing.
They're justifiable. This is made especially clear.
You think maybe he tried to react to something and it didn't work out? He got claimed
use isn't actually covered by it.
Someone either reacted to him.
It's kind of crazy that he invokes slavery. I understand he's just trying to make a point that like not all laws are good. But again, we're talking about free speech. We're not talking about the ownership of other
playing the victim.
beings.
I am the fucking victim.
Just a vast and dramatic analogy that is just super inappropriate and not apt, to be frank, at all. This isn't crime. This isn't I mean, well, it could be a civil crime, but we're talking about free speech. We're talking about...
Do they have that in Australia?
Sharing ideas. We're not talking
I'm
about...
like kidding, but I'm not.
Violence. We're not talking about owning other people. It's just wild.
Speak.
Now, the part that I think is so interesting and inconsistent
I don't know if that's a clause
about Dark Viper's video is that if you go to his channel, I'm going to minimize myself here. He's a gamer,
this video of
right? Now, let me pull up his channel because this gets real interesting.
Should I put myself right next to Ethan? Like we're hanging out. I changed my lights. That would work.
interesting, and shows a real cognitive dissonance in this guy's argument. Dark Viper goes on to say, uh, here, because he goes, well, I'm a gamer, so I have to cover my butt here. He says, playing video games is fair use. Okay. He says,
This is silly. I'll admit,
is it
this is
not the
silly.
same as making content about
Bestie.
video games?
Oh,
No.
he's gone.
Take a video of a person on a
Ethan,
ride
come
at
back.
Disneyland. You may quickly notice that the video of the ride does not fulfill the purpose of the ride.
This is like
You
different.
can't say I rode the ride at Disneyland because it isn't true.
There's
Videos of video games
right
do not usually
There's a
compete with the video game themselves, as watching a video is different from playing a video game. Actually, incorrect. Playing video games, I'm pretty sure it is not fair use, as you are not offering.
yeah, actually, in this guy's in Dark Viper's Matthew, if I may, in his argument, it's like just saying, "Hey yo, video games aren't fair use, even though I'm not really adding anything to it, and all I'm really doing is controlling the character the way the video game studios wanted me to, and I'm profiting off of it more than they are." But also, I guess video games can be kind of free promotion. In a way, reaction videos could also be free promotion because it would get people to go and watch the actual video sometimes.
Any criticism
Not
of
all
the game,
time, but it's also kind of like you see an ad for like salsa. It's like you might go buy it, but probably not. Like you really only you tend to just buy one thing, and if you like it, you keep buying the same things.
offering any insight or transformation. You are using the game for its intended purpose, and the only reason that it's allowed, basically the developers allow it because it helps promote their game.
Silly.
Your comparison to Disneyland Ride is not a good one, because Disneyland rides, you know, it's funny.
Ethan, where's Hila? Is Hila with Bruce?
That's probably uncharted territory, right? If filming a ride is fair use or not. I would say it's not. I would say it is fair use, but he says that so confidently. Disneyland rides don't have stories. They don't have stories. Basically, a video game is a book. It's a story. It's a movie. You playing it.
Okay, wait, but then could you say? Then it's interesting because it's like reading a book is like a story. But you can't just republish a book, but you can read. I guess the only legal thing you'd come across is if you were reading a book out loud and you're like, I wrote this book. When in reality, it's like Alice in Wonderland or something, Cinderella, Brothers Grimm version.
Is only one aspect of it. For example, I can say, I never wanted to buy or had the time to play like some of these long form story based video games like Uncharted or whatever. And I would watch full playthroughs on YouTube, videos with millions of views, and basically get the whole experience of playing the game by just watching the video. So
it's definitely
the way that he just blinked.
There's also the whole thing where I've gotten that where it's like you watch the game instead of playing, because then you don't actually have to like get the game, or like you can't like buy it and you don't have the time to play it. But then it's also like, I don't know, actually having the game is a bit different. Plus, it's kind of just like free publicity. It's like free advertising video games for whoever
shows a blaring cognitive dissonance
whoever made
in
the game.
his understanding
or for what a game
of fair
is.
use. You know, what he does specifically, like speed runs and stuff like that, probably has a good argument for fair use because it's kind of transforming the game and adding a new twist to it.
What are you talking about? Every single speedrun game, you're supposed to play it like that. You see the Five Nights at Freddy's security breach glitch? You're supposed to go through the entire map. you're supposed to go all the way through the map, fall through, get the true ending. That exact way.
But like, let me
I'm
just
pretty sure
see.
that it was built
Here
to
he is
be
just playing
played that way.
GTA 5. Yeah, I don't know. Definitely not just straight up fair use, playing games. I'm sure I could look through his videography and be like, well,
Here's the thing too, though. I
here's
guess
a couple
yeah,
videos that
gamers are kind of just reactionary. But then there's the video game playthroughs, no commentary. I've watched a few of those, just going through it. You know how it is. But it's like the full game, and they do everything, and all you do is you sit and watch, and there's no commentary. So it's basically like you're playing the game. That's true. Yeah, I guess if you're like, especially if you're watching horror, you're not as scared as when you're playing it because it's a lot scarier actually in it.
that I don't think are fair use. But they allow you to do it, right? Because it's good for business. Take, for example, Nintendo. They don't want people playing their game at all. And they claim every person playing Nintendo games.
Can't you
I
just
personally
take a
think it's
video
dumb. I
of
think
like
it's
a roller
bad for their
coaster ride
business
you're on
because
though?
people don't make Nintendo reaction videos. But that's
I guess
until
technically
proven
you could argue
otherwise,
you're screaming
they're
at it.
right
Make
as
stuff
the
to it.
copyright holder. So I think he got that one wrong. And he finishes his
Does he
essay by
watch the
saying,
video?
reactors are bad people. They're all bad
Oh,
people.
was there a video?
They explicitly exploit the less fortunate for their own gain. Rich professional reactors are
This
much
guy
worse,
needs to sit down.
as they all have the ability to act with greater consideration for how their actions
He
will
needs to go
affect
take a
those
nap.
around them, but
He seems a little
actively
grouchy.
choose to harm others anyway. They know what they're doing is wrong, but they just don't care. They may seem like nice people, but they'd be a lot nicer if they weren't making millions of dollars reposting other people's hard work for massive profits.
Once again, I don't think this man has the right to be making that argument. I don't think he has the right at all.
If you meet a reactor at a party, I suggest you cover your glass or outright tell them you don't want to F them, because they seem keen to take a person's silence for consent. Horrible take. Super
Really bad
hyperbolic
take. Really bad
and
take.
wrong. First of all, just saying all reactors are bad people, they're thieves, is
Like
way over the top, dude. Totally unwarranted. And then also saying that, they might R-word you at a party because they disrespect your consent that much. Again, he's conflating violence against another person, a consent of R-word versus free speech. This is protected speech, my friend. There is no comparison to be made here. You are way off basis. The only point where I really agree with him, and I think it is a very important point, if I was him and I really wanted to make a case against reactors, the reaction meta on Twitch specifically, and I know that
reaction meta,
Moist Critical re-uploads a lot of his Twitch reactions to his YouTube channel, is that by reacting to stuff, specifically TV shows, you really do threaten the position of the platform.
I feel like
you really actually do.
You should
have a huge threat,
but
and personally, I agree with this one. I don't think it's good that people are just watching
reaction. I think it's
full
really
television
just
shows
on
Twitch. I really
there's this
I don't. So that's basically my
TV
take
production
on it. I think Dark
and,
White
media, influencer production. Like some of the things you watch on YouTube are as produced. I'm gonna put myself back up in my corner where I belong. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me focus. Some of the things you watch has the production quality of TV shows. So it's weird. It's a weird line. I think the TV thing is just because it's old media, it's old entertainment. Kind of the whole thing with old money and new money. It's TV is it's just something you wouldn't touch. Yeah, the studio is cool with it. Which also, but then that would bring in the thing is like, should the content, if the content creator's not okay with you reacting to their skit or something, wouldn't that then be like follow the guy's argument, I guess? Once again, his name's Matthew. He looks like this. Just pull him up real quick. This is Matthew. So I'm not gonna agree with him, but
Viper had some. Well, he had
it's
one
weird. It's
specifically very
complicated.
good take, and that was overshadowed by a lot of just terrible hyperbole and kind of unhinged bitterness. Listen, to me, my take on Dark Viper with Peace and Love is that he's a guy who's bitter, that other people are having an easier time and a more successful career. And that's the way it is on YouTube, man. Like I used to spend hundreds of hours on each video and upload, 4 videos a month on a good month. That's just the way it is, man. You got to just do what you want to do. But in my opinion, there is
So many
the
people are
world is
looking at
wide
it.
enough for all of us. There's
69
this
total viewers on
theory
it
in
right now.
Dark Viper's paper that it's stealing the
That's
views,
true.
it's stealing the money
Some
from
YouTubers
the
care.
original author. I
But then
personally
it's also
just
like
disagree with that.
a YouTuber takes it down, and then everyone's like, why would you take it down? Like, as if they're in the wrong, but really, like, anyone has the right to be like, I don't want you to react to this. But also, then again, it's like, yeah, okay. Well, then, wouldn't that bring the argument that TV shows couldn't do that? Is their reaction, like, reacting enough? I mean, couldn't you play the show and then just, like, put your voice over it? Like, don't say the actual, like, lines, but just say what you think they're saying.
Premise entirely. I believe that, in general, reaction videos, with the exception of stuff like Jinx, and with the big exception of Twitch viewers watching full
Right, when it's
programs,
moving.
that a reaction and commentary adds views to the original and doesn't siphon it at all. I mean, YouTube is such a massive playground. There truly is enough space for everybody here. And in my experience, anytime anyone ever talked about my videos or reacted to it, it was always
There's
a
enough
net
space,
positive.
but I don't think it's like there's not enough people, not enough space on the stage.
And I personally think it's a win-win. But that being said, this
But then it's the same with that's kind of the same with the reaction videos. So I kind of see this guy's point, where it's like this stuff could be competing with the person's original content. It doesn't make sense to me.
this is free
Like
speech
it
we're
doesn't
talking
that
about.
doesn't work.
The net
That's just like
effect
works in like a
does
loop.
not matter. What matters is
The circle is
fair
actually
use, right? We're talking about free speech.
closed.
Each case of fair use is
And I'm
determined
stuck in it.
by a judge or a jury, as it's such a hard to define nebulous thing that all the facts need to be taken in consideration with all the whole story. So I don't.
Well, you could still say it's hard, like with this even. It's like it's hard to make an argument that this isn't an alternative. Like this is just an alternative way to watch it. Yeah, it seems messy. Like it seems like something they should define better because this is
Not
just
to
leading to
say,
more like lawsuits.
Dark Viper,
and Dark Viper.
you seem like a decent guy. I appreciate your enthusiasm here, but I do think that you could have gone about this document in a better way and toned down on the hyperbole to actually make what is ultimately a very good, a very urgent point about reacting to television shows.
But they're still not getting.
That's
still
my
not getting the
thoughts. I know these guys
royalties.
keep going back and forth.
Because I have like ad blocker on, but they would still get royalties if it was long enough. They would still get like the ad stuff. Well, technically, they're losing views. They're not getting those views that they could have had. What I'm saying, Will, is that you're wrong. Get out of my chat. I'm gonna time you out.
Moist Critical responded, and then Dark Viper made another response. Let me know if you guys are interested, and I'll go ahead and watch those videos. I'll do a reaction meta. Let me know what you guys think. Peace and love. Stay
Reaction
good.
meta.
Wow, Ethan, great moves.
Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it at that. Been a day. But yeah, I'm gonna read that thing. Maybe I'll skim it. I don't really want to read it that bad. Alright. Well, I'm gonna end it here. So, good night. Yeah. I haven't decided. I might take tomorrow off. But if I am on tomorrow, it'll be at 9 instead of 8. But yeah. Have a great and glorious day tomorrow. But today is almost over. But yeah, peace and love. I'll play you out. Alright, have a good night.